there are people that would look at our piss and be like, I would love
Oh my
to drink
God,
that.
it's only a little yellow.
I would love to.
Where do you think the most conjoined twins occurs? What country? This is what happens when two dumb guys try and talk about smart things, is they eventually just go, what do either of us think? Okay, what were we talking about before? New York comedian.
I need that.
That's a fun joke.
That's a fun joke.
No names, full name.
No names, full name, middle name.
I don't know this person's middle name. I got to be honest.
Oh, I do.
We're not as close as we once. Yeah, I would hope.
That's funny for you to be like, we weren't as close as we once were, as if you did know their middle name.
Yeah, and then I forgot
you forgot it. You're like, yeah, well, we're not as close, so I just kind of forgot their middle name. No, we're talking about we were immediately talking about phone stuff, being like responding to Grant had the camera set up perfectly, and then he got a text, and then he just picked up his phone from where he had it, started to look at the text, and it was not an unmeaningful text, but just wasn't something super important. And we're just half the time I look at my phone, 90% of the time I look at my phone, it's for jack garbage. It's for nothing. Oh, jeez.
Just spilled all over your couch.
No, look at how nice this couch is. You won't be able to see this. It really beads up nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice couch, man.
It wicks.
I paid a lot of money for this couch.
Yeah, the phone sucks balls.
Which is why I'm upset that everyone says his setup is better.
It's objectively nicer looking. It's
but
warmer.
I don't like the lack of depth. Shut up, phone. This is what I'm
You
talking
don't like
about.
the lack of what?
The lack of depth. They say things in podcasts, you need something in the background, like deeper, so you feel like you're in a room, rather than like just the wall being like, right?
But you don't understand. You're seeing us as the subject, but really it's our feet that are the subject, and we are the depth.
Yeah. That's a great point. And when we were at your place,
exactly,
my foot was like, just right in the middle. Yeah.
Most views we've ever gotten on an episode. Our time watched went up significantly.
Yeah,
to 3 minutes.
Yeah, significant. Yeah. That's literally 50% increase.
50% increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I really want to kill my phone. I wanna buy some place in Idaho, and I want to have a no phone zone. I want to have like a cultish type situation, not where I'm having sex with a bunch of ladies, but simply a place.
Bunch of men?
That comes later. But I don't know. I really like no phone. There's like a public library style space where everybody has access to the same internet.
One computer, two computers.
Yeah, just a few computers.
And there's a professional old person sitting on the computer that you always have to wait for. So it kind of deters you from.
And also, what everybody does have access to is what's going on the computer. So there's like projectors projecting the screens of the computers so that everybody can see what you're doing.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
Yeah.
So to deter a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, if they're looking up something you're about to look up, you're like, oh, all right, I already got it.
Exactly.
No problem.
Really a community-based search function.
Yeah, like how much water does one flush use? And then when someone else is looking that up, you're like, oh, all right, perfect.
We already got that one.
It's like 1.3 liters or something, or a couple liters.
It's probably a pretty offensive amount of liters to those who do not have clean water. It's crazy we just shit in water.
Crazy that people are like, I need water to live, and we're just like,
that is a bummer.
They're great. There are people that would look at our piss and be like, I would love.
Oh my
to drink
God,
that.
It's only a little yellow.
I would love to drink that urine that you just urinated, and we're like, I want to get rid of it.
There's people in developed countries that feel the same way, though.
Yeah, but that's more of a
mostly Germany. Yeah.
That's more of a.
That's like, it's weird that what doing genocide does to your sexual proclivities of an entire country, because their entire country is known for like pee pee poo poo leather stuff.
Yeah, what's that about?
I don't know, man. I think you just.
I think that's maybe a curse that the Jews left on them.
Oh, it's a weird curse. They like the curse.
Well, yeah, they like it, but it's going to ruin their society.
Maybe it's just like a hormonal deficiency caused by Zyklone B.
Zyklone B? Is that
like a gas
over the counter?
What are you going to
say? Sounds like a pill.
No.
It sounds like it's spring.
This you need
Zyklone B.
You need a pharmacist for Zyklone.
Oh, okay. Zyklone B.
I move her body like a cyclone. You remember that song by Baby Bash?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot you didn't like
That whole thing was
do
like
middle school dances.
Yeah, no, that was like a calculus that I didn't know. That was like a parent that I was like, I can't read that. That's astrophysics.
I was doing non-Christian American algebra in front of you.
Excuse me? I don't know what that is. If you want to talk about Bible Man or
we can talk about Bible Man
Veggie Tales.
later.
Yeah. Did you know that Bible Man was a Bible thing, you retard?
Really?
No.
Is that a real thing?
Bible Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a weird guy who wears like a purple
Superman?
suit. It was like a weird mix of like Batman and Star Wars. Like he had like a light sword type thing, and he used the Bible scripture as like his defense a lot against it was a terrible Christian show.
Oh, it was a show.
Oh yeah, it was a Christian
Oh,
show.
I was thinking of it as like a McGruff the crime dog. Like he would go from church to church and
Oh no.
Okay, so what? Wow, Bible Man, and
Yeah.
How you watch this?
I didn't watch
lot?
it a lot. My parents didn't have me watch it a lot. Have me watch it. That is a thing too. When your parents like watch this.
Yeah, well, they're kind of doing read this.
It was that's true. It was Adventures in Odyssey. It was Veggie Tales. It was kind of the classics. Oh, Jonathan Park, was that his name? Yeah, another thing about archaeologists who were like, it was like,
They're all wrong.
well, dude, it was like
They're making up these bones.
it was about paleontologists
Yeah.
who were 6-day creationists and were like, well, evolution, and they tell in this like narrative format that was like,
6-day creationists. That's what you are, right? You believe the Earth was formed in 6 days.
yeah, I like the apparent age theory, but I'm not married to anything.
Because you don't think it's important.
I mean, I think it's important. I think it's interesting. I don't think it's salvific. I'm not like, I have to believe in the 6-day creation to be a Christian,
Yeah.
like to be saved. So I mull it over. I'm interested in it, but I generally don't.
But that's Genesis chapter 1 is the Earth being formed in 6 days. That's what that means, right? If you're a 6-day
If it's a
creationist.
literal 6 24-hour days, yes, that's a 6-day.
Oh, versus there are interpretations where it's like, oh, time is maybe relatively, it's different from
where it was age. Some people think day
maybe
age
6
theory.
billion years, but
Right.
that was days
So,
to God.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just reading that in First Peter. It was Peter, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 2nd John. It was talking about like 1,000 years is as a day to the Lord. And so it's like, okay, everything could go way faster to God. So it's like, who knows? But again, I would not. I definitely wouldn't create media about how it's
Right.
6-day creation to tell to kids so that they can think
to use dinosaur bones to prove 6-day creation.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. I forgot. I was really more interested in the narrative, like that aspect, like the story of the kids and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a whole other thing. All based in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs, Focus on the Family, put out all of this stuff. That's like Christian Mecca is Colorado Springs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Dude, crazy Christian.
Colorado Springs.
That's right. Yeah.
What?
Focus on the Family. It's less air. It's the altitude.
Oh, so their brains don't have enough air to think critically?
No, they all are just really good. They're really good distance runners.
Sure.
Dude, the Olympic
Yeah,
Training
they've been
Center.
running from the truth their entire lives.
Or to it.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Sure.
You have won the race. You've finished the race. Kept the faith. Anyways, the Olympic Training Center's in Colorado Springs
Yeah, that makes sense.
to build up.
That makes sense.
No, so they can go to church, so they can have God on their side.
Okay, sure.
For the Olympics. But we're talking about Olympics achievements. We're talking about achievements making you happy and what. That's what we're talking about.
Sure. How do you not let the desire to achieve? Well, the idea that achieving is the only way to really
Feel worthy?
justify your existence, feel worthy, get love, and that is one thing about Christianity, or your take on it at least, is that it provides you with a baseline of human worth to where you don't need to define yourself by the unending rat race and pursuit of accomplishment.
Yeah,
that kills you day by
if
day.
you define that accomplishment as being like Zen or whatever,
Yeah, that is
Even
the
if-
funny part about modern like meditation and Zen is like the reason to meditate is to be more productive.
Yeah, it's
How
like,
big of a fucking capitalist loser do you have to be like, I need to meditate an hour a day so that I can, it's like why people are using like fucking hallucinogens to get better at coding Facebook code. Like,
yeah.
God damn it! What that can't be the answer.
I'm more in touch with reality, so I can buy
so
more
now I can
stuff.
make something that alters it more.
Right, exactly, dude. I mean, it's it's an interesting goal, and it's so stressful to be like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and even if you minimize all that and you go, okay, I just gotta do one thing. Well, now there's way more pressure on that one thing, and I think Christianity doesn't deter you from doing those things or having achievement. It gives you a safety to take bigger swings, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if your whole worth isn't based on how you do, then you can take huge swings at stuff and totally whiff and miss and be like, I'm okay. That doesn't touch who I am. But if you think
you can be disappointed but not destroyed.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think like
I'm destroyed every time I fail.
Right. Because you're like, like I find this a lot with super competitive people is they're just like, they have to win. And it's like if they don't win, and I've been very blessed by losing a lot in my life.
Yeah.
Just like in games and stuff. Like I didn't win Settlers of Catan for 2 years in college. I didn't win 2 years.
What a tragedy.
And I won a lot in high school. I was like a good player. And even when I was playing those 2 years, I was close to winning tons of times. And we played
so lame
hundreds of times in college. I lost for 2 years. At that point, you're like, well, listen, I'm just going to lose.
Yeah, there's only up.
Yeah,
or baseline.
Yeah, and when you win, you're like, oh, that was nice. But you don't expect to win.
Sure.
But it's when you need to win in everything. In high school, we got to all these championship games, never won.
Yeah.
We went to nationals and ultimate frisbee in college multiple times, never did well there.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of cool to get this validated feeling where it's like, you're okay. You're not even close to the best.
Right.
And so then you're like, oh, okay, cool. I can make it more about doing it. Because it's not about your worth. You know, your worth doesn't come from that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that commitment, like rigorous commitment to a lot of pursuits will lead to, if you stick with it, some type of, basically you get confidence, right? If you can weather the constant failure to the point where you can subconsciously accept that failure is an option, but it won't ruin you.
Right.
On the other end of that, once you start to incline up towards actually getting successful at it with that backbone of I don't die if I lose.
Right.
You'll get confidence, right, in yourself, and that is that's kind of good. Like I still suck at comedy, but I took 5 years of doing comedy almost every day to start to enjoy comedy. I think some people that timeline is much shorter. Sometimes people it's longer, but like that is the benefit of giving yourself over to something, you know? So like when you have, but that's like a worldly pursuit. So when you have that as a divine thing or like an otherworldly pursuit, it, you have something that won't, or can't necessarily, it doesn't end, right? Like,
right.
And so I understand why the pursuit of like any divine idea is emboldening to a lot of people, whether it be like this or pick a religion. The idea that this thing is kind of unfalsifiable in your experience, it is something that you can always be like, well, this is happening for a reason, this good and bad. And I know that there's this underlying thing of love or purpose. And, you know, you can try and construct that idea with another pursuit like comedy or blah, blah, blah. But you don't have as much of the communal or theological backing that, because it's an individual thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think just having even a lot of religions and a lot of spirituality, so much of it still is, I think, like, how good can you get at it?
Yeah,
And that's a weird thing because it's like, well, now my whole identity is in that boat.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like, can your identity be cemented outside of that so that no matter what happens, that the only like analogy I can think of right now is like, you know, those people that do sailing where they're like in the San Francisco Bay all the time, and it's like really intense, like sailing competitions. So you've got those people where their whole life in that moment is on the boat sailing, depending on how they're doing. And then you've got like in the pond or whatever at Central Park, where you've got people controlling the boats from the side of the thing. Whatever you want could happen to that boat in the pond, and you're still on the side being like, well, I personally am okay.
Yeah.
My boat is one thing. Whereas if your whole life is on the boat, like in the Bay in San Francisco, life-size thing, that's everything you got is on the boat. But I think Christianity allows you to control the boat from the side and be like, you could do whatever you want to this boat that is my life, but I am still okay because that's not what my identity is.
Okay.
My identity is on the side.
In this analogy, the small boat is your kind of material life.
Yeah, your achievements.
And then the person manning the boat with the remote is
us. It's us.
Us. And then the man who said he would pay for the boat time if you looked at something in his van, that's God.
Yeah, and his van is filled with amazing things.
Like candy. Yes.
And dogs.
Oh, and puppies.
Puppies and some kittens. And just Whoa, his van is awesome.
It's a nice
van. And when you die, you go into the van. And go in a sense. And you feel safe in the van.
Yeah.
The van takes you home.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways,
that's an interesting analogy.
That's my pitch for Christianity.
Well,
get in God's van.
How Catholic of you.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if priests have vans.
Presbyterians don't have you guys don't have the charges.
I mean, here's the thing. It's under the umbrella of Protestantism. So when you get super specific within Presbyterianism, specifically the type I grew up in, which is PCA, Presbyterian Church of America, I'm sure there's stuff going on. Like there's not like.
But your guys are allowed to have wives.
Oh yeah, Protestants.
That's a big.
Protestants are allowed to have wives.
I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying, I was trying to do a joke about that, where I was like, a lot of it is like just proximity. You know what I mean? It's like these Catholic priests are like, well, who's around? You know, like who's available? It's just these young boys.
Boys.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, come on, we're just hanging out. It's fun.
But there's no like big Presbyterian scandal. Maybe it's because the Catholic Church is just it's a bigger thing, right?
Yeah, and it's one institution, so they take the hit for every single thing.
Sure.
Whereas like Presbyterianism, like I'm thinking of not a scandal right now, but there's a church in San Diego, an OPC church, Orthodox Presbyterian Church. One of the kids, one of the elders of the church, his son shot up a synagogue.
Whoa.
In San Diego. Horrific, terrible, right?
Bad.
But guess what? That just goes to, it's so like not bifurcated, like infinitely fricated, infricated that like the OPC doesn't take heat for that. Presbyterians don't take heat for that. Protestants don't take heat for that. But if it was like Catholic shoots up synagogue, it'd be totally different.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So in a weird way, the segmentation kind of protects Protestantism, because the Southern Baptist Church could do a ton of bad stuff. And then you're like, well, those are Southern Baptists. We're not Southern Baptists. So that's kind of like the separation, although I do think it is evidence of like sin and like separation, which is not good. We do want to be a unified church. It does kind of handle in like crisis management.
Yeah, it's a diversification of investments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that you can be like, that's those Presbyterians over there.
Yeah, they're Orthodox Presbyterian Church, which we used to be, but now we're Presbyterian Church of America. And we're not URC, which is United Reformed Church. And it's not EPC, which is the Evangelical Presbyterian Church, which I'm going to now. So it's like, and that's four. That's four Presbyterian churches that are all Reformed Presbyterian, which is a specific theological take. And it's like, yeah, you could get that's why I get annoyed when people ask me, oh, what denomination are you? I'm like, you don't care or know.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Yeah, you're like, oh, are you Protestant? And I'm like, yeah. Or I'll say like Presbyterian or whatever. And they'll go, is that Protestant? And I'm like, yes. Like I just get like they just don't know what they're asking. They just know the buzzwords.
Yeah, so you should get angry at them for them not knowing what they're asking.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying. Is when people ask in ignorance but good faith.
Yeah,
I get mad at them because they're so stupid.
Wow, you're so disconnected from your boat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. I'm so. I'm better than you.
Yeah,
that's the hard part too. Is you find yourself on the boat when you should be on the side of the boat, because it's like, I am just like, the pride is crazy. That's what I was talking about earlier. I'm not a good. I like struggle with pride and selfishness and thinking I'm better than people all the time, which is really a bad look as a Christian person, you know, because you're not doing a great
the person
job.
Part doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Well, sure, but I don't know if people don't really, I think, see it that way.
Yeah, that is the one thing is like it's kind of like how like when black people say like if you fuck up, that's like people assign that fuck up to your entire race.
Right.
That same thing happens in any group that you represent. And so like if you're like a selfish Christian, they go, well, you're not Christian, or like this is this group. Or this is who everybody in this group is like.
Dude, do you know how many like people's growing ups like have just turned them off to religion for the rest of their life?
Yeah.
You went to a bad Catholic school growing up? Yeah, so all of Christianity's stupid now. And it's like, I mean, I get where you're coming from, because that was depicted as the right Christianity. They believed the right thing, and they really hurt you. So,
yeah. I guess that's the other problem is everybody thinks that their thing is right.
Yeah.
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 It's not. It's Josh's thing that's right.
It's mine. And not everyone's met me. So
Yeah.
how could you know?
But that's going to change after this podcast.
That's going to change once everyone knows once everyone hears our sweet riffs about how I was thinking about
we
that.
We got to do a couple more movie-based riffs.
Movie-based riffs.
We'll be flagrant too.
Maybe we'll start kind of talking more black, maybe.
We could try that.
Have like
I'm from New York.
I'm from New York. I can talk like this. It's not black accent.
You can talk like that, but
I can't talk like
he really.
Nah, man. Yeah, it's
yucky,
tough.
Yucky, yucky.
But I feel weird because it's like, well, he grew up in Manhattan, like that, and you talk like who?
No, it's a
around. Multicultural
accent.
Yeah,
that's a New York accent. It's like a weird mix of black people and Jewish people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's my Andrew Schultz is doing that.
It's pretty bad.
Thanks.
Well, on that note, how are you feeling? Let's rate ourselves.
Yeah, we'll rate. I'll rate me right now.
Okay.
I think religiously same 8. Spiritually, I think I've been getting back on the bandwagon. The process is back to where it was. I'm catching up on the stuff that I missed. I'm doing my daily readings and then going back and like catching up from the 2 weeks I kind of missed. So that's been good.
The 2 weeks where you actually had to do your job.
Do my job / was just being weird with my schedule. Like I couldn't do it, it was anyways. Just getting back on track there, which has been good, and it's been nice, and it's offered a sense of peace, and it's nice to be like, okay, I don't want to make you fall asleep again. But it's been good. It's been good. So that's been beneficial. Good. Realizing that Jesus is in charge of my life and that he loves me, and that if things go bad now, it's not to just ruin my life and laugh at me.
Yeah.
God's like, your life is going to be ruined. It's going to be hilarious. That's not the plan. So putting faith in that is always helpful.
I saw a meme of a story. I don't know what the validity is of that is good, by the way. And you don't have to speed through what you're saying in fear that I'm going to snooze.
No, it's okay.
It was just one thing. We needed a clip. But this was that there was like 2 conjoined twins, and one was gay, and they only had one ass. Where do you think God lines in on that one?
There's no way that's real.
It had to be made up.
But
how funny
way.
That is a sitcom. That's a great sitcom. It's like who gets the car tonight, who gets the ass tonight.
That's so funny because I bet the head that's gay just like sucking dick. And he doesn't even feel it in his butt. I bet that's a sign to the other guy.
Yeah.
And then the other person.
It's all about control.
Yeah, and then the other person's like, oh my gosh, I have to feel getting railed.
Man.
It's also crazy. How do you privacy?
Such brotherly love.
Wow. I mean, you kind of think they could just kiss each other, huh? Is that still incest, I guess?
I mean, at what point do you just get a break from rules?
From roles?
Rules.
Oh, rules? Yeah,
like if you're conjoined twins, one ass.
I mean, what are you doing? Do you have one stomach too?
Sometimes. It's a very different how each individual like split looks.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's crazy.
It's just head. They have
I've seen that.
Long head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They only see each other in a mirror.
I mean, I don't think that some certain combos, it's sad, but I don't think they last long. It's not a thing that happens a lot. Where do you think the most, have we had this conversation? Oh, no, I had this conversation with someone. Where do you think the most conjoined twins occurs? What country?
You know the answer to this?
I do know the answer.
Okay.
And
I'm trying to think.
feels It feels problematic, the answer.
You know what? I don't know the name of this country, but I'm going to say Siamese.
Siam.
Siam.
I think that was
Siamese twins.
That was a region that is no longer around. But I think
okay. China.
Yeah.
China. You got us, China.
You are wrong.
Okay. Wait, let me guess.
Sorry. Was that your second guess?
No, but I was going to guess Asia somewhere. I was going to say India.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They have the most people. Statistically speaking, I mean,
China has the most people.
It's them in China, but China only allows for one kid.
Yeah.
So if you got a conjoined kid, they're like,
oh my God, what a roll of the dice.
We're killing those folks.
Yeah.
And if it's a girl, well, that's why someone was telling me like China's a threat, blah, 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 whatever. And then they're like, no, their birth rate is so low. In like 20 years, they're going to be cooked.
But our birth rate is quite low too.
Yeah. Until we Christians start having more kids. Am I right? Am I right?
Anyway, I don't know. That's like the demographics thing is way over my head. But what is his name? Like Peter. He's like the most fucking annoying guy on earth. But he like wrote a book called "The End of the World Is Just the Beginning" or something, and it's basically about like how the United States is.
Actually, everything's just getting started.
That's exactly.
Actually,
that is this guy.
World, and everything's getting around.
He's so fucking annoying. What is that fucking guy's name? But
Peter Dinklage.
His name is Peter Dinklage. Yeah, the book is thicker than him, but
he uses it as a step stool.
Yeah, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know. It doesn't take into account like cultural collapse, which basically the thesis of the book is the United States is going to be fine because a country's future is determined not so much by what's going on inside of the country, but by the country's geography and by its demographics.
Okay.
And
our demographics are always changing. I feel like more than other countries.
Yeah, well, we have like this weird constant influx of immigration because of our like general culture of immigration, which is like, despite what the right says a lot of times, it is people come here and people still come here.
Yeah.
And those people fuck. And they bring children.
Dude, it's killing me now what this guy's name is because I'm wondering if it's the same guy. White, long hair, old guy, Harvard prof.
No. This is a middle-aged, kind of flamboyant-y sounding Peter Zion.
Zion. His name is Zion?
Zion.
Oh, okay.
Zahan or something.
All right.
Super
Don't mess
annoying.
with the Zion.
Don't mess with the Zion. But anyway, it's and then also the U.S. has a bunch of waterways and also protection on both sides from any real enemies because of the massive oceans, and then our top and bottom countries that we connect with are also pretty much allies overall.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is an interesting point, but also it's like if we start blowing ourselves up inside,
which is far more likely.
Feels far more likely.
I mean, here's the thing, man. We're getting so many disparate. It's weird because America's greatest aspect is also the one that leaves it the most open to getting wrecked.
Yeah,
where it's like we accept people of all and everyone
ideas,
can think different stuff. It's cool, and some people are like, "Well, that's awesome. I'm going to go there because I think that sucks."
Yeah,
and then they just start dismantling it, and they're like, "No, we all need to think this thing," and it's like.
But also from the inside, that happens where people realize the system is not beneficial to even like natural born citizens.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think there's ways where when you get rid of the capacity to be different, that's the problem.
When you get rid of the capacity to be different.
Yeah, when you're like everyone has to be the same thing, everyone has to think the same thing. Like and that's also the issue.
But that's the opposite of kind of what happens in America. Those are. What are you saying?
I'm saying people will come to America with.
This is what happens when two dumb guys try and talk about smart things. Is they eventually just go, "What do either of us think?"
Dude, fire was created by accident. Okay, no one knew. Nobody was like, "I'm gonna make a thing. I'm gonna make fire." They just two retards just accidentally made fire.
This is the making of fire.
Exactly. Yeah,
there's two stones hitting each other in the head.
But hold on, we're on to something, and then some
happen.
genius, and we won't even see it because we're fighting someone else in the comments.
Yeah,
whatever, titty twister, whatever their name is.
Tight gripper.
Tight gripper. Come on.
Hell yeah, tight gripper.
Is that like a butthole or a pussy thing?
He does jujitsu, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping to God he does
with
jiu-jitsu.
His vagina. God, I got you old.
Yeah,
I'm really good at Kegels. Okay, yeah, I think that's I think what we're talking about is I think of people coming to America with a death to America standpoint. Not everyone, obviously, but people can, and then they're like, this country sucks, so then they come here.
Dude, I think that's way, way, way more rare than just people being like born here and being like, this sucks.
Statistically, way more rare.
Way, way, way more rare.
But also, that the minority is the one that's going to have the largest effect too. You know, because like if your plan is to like you know how many people wanted to do 9/11. Very few people wanted to do 9/11. Just a few American politicians and
just the entire intelligence apparatus.
Just all the CIA.
Yeah.
And
potentially the Israeli apparatus as well.
I don't think it was an inside job personally, but I totally get where that's coming from.
Yeah.
That's one of those conspiracy theories where at first you're like, what? That's crazy. And now I'm like, it's less crazy.
It's less crazy.
But I still don't think it's true. JFK was killed by, dude, this is crazy. I told my dad that like the FBI killed Martin Luther King Jr. and he was like, no. And I was like, no, yeah.
No, it's like proven.
For sure it happened.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't think so.
I like that. I want to be that guy.
Sure.
Because like the government would never.
Have you met my dad?
No.
Oh, you love him.
Yeah.
He's such a friendly, nice guy. He's like, it's not naivete. It's incredible hopefulness.
It's optimism.
He's just like, no. Like when I was a kid in high school, I was talking
dangerous optimism.
To a degree, but it also allows him, I think, to connect with so many more people.
Sure.
Because like in high school, I was talking about my friends, you know, drinking, doing drugs, having sex, all that stuff. And my dad was like, they're not doing that. I'm
what?
Like, yeah, they are.
Where did this guy
he's
grow
just
up?
like, they're just saying that to be cool. And I'm like, no, they are doing that. It's for sure it's happening. And he's just like, no.
Wow, that's borderline retarded, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, but no, it's just a different time. You know, he grew up in the 70s and, you know, Catholic house.
Sex happening in the 70s.
Dude, you know, he was wearing like, you know, high-waisted shorts that went up to about where mine are with high socks and Converse and was just running around in the dirt.
Okay.
You know, he's just an innocent boy. And that was when he was 25, you know? So it's like, you know, he's an innocent man.
Well,
nice.
I would say I'm like a 2-2, honestly.
2-2?
I'm low, man.
That's a low rating,
Just
man.
not been thinking about it much.
All-time low.
All-time low. ATL. But maybe the discussion of the tabernacle will get me back into it. It won't.
Yeah, this is
well, first we got to do the covenant confirmed, right?
Yeah, covenant confirmed. Well, we stopped off,
or did we not even do
Conquest of Canaan promised?
Oh yeah,
we got to do this.
Well,
Conquest of Canaan promised.
Okay, so
folks,
let's get into it.
Put
Josh,
this in your pipe and smoke it.
Fill the people in on why you think genocide is allowed to go on.
Here's where it defends genocide, and so it says, in 4,000 years from now, there will be a place
cut off
called
the aid entirely.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's America. That's not, or I guess no, that is Israel. Sorry, we're all cutting off aid to everywhere. Yeah. So I just was like, it's called conserving resources. Yeah, anyways,
for the people who need the most, billionaires.
Listen, listen. If they don't have the money, then they're not billionaires anymore.
That's true. To exist as billionaires, they need to have
$1 billion.
Yes, that's
at minimum.
True.
So
that's true.
You know, you can't knock them for trying. If you care, okay, remember this comes all after the law, right? So they get a ton of law stuff, right? You do this, you know, kill your oxen, save your oxen.
Me in Israel, as I've just finished reading the commandments, I see a lot of lawbreakers around here.
Movie reference. Boom, movie reference. That clip's gonna go viral. Okay, so after all of this, he says, but if you carefully obey his voice, the Lord's, and do all that I say, Moses, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. Basically being like, I'm going to be on your side if you follow all this law. We're on the same page. And basically, okay, I'll just read this. When my angel goes before you, Israel, and brings you to the Amorites, the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I blot them out, you shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do as they do, but you shall utterly overthrow them and break their pillars in pieces. I mean, he's just talking about like all the enemies surrounding nations, and he's just like, you're going to destroy them, and you're not going to worship their gods, which also makes sense, right? Because you wouldn't go into like a losing nation and then be like, okay, so what God let you guys down and let you get beat? I'm going to worship that God.
Yeah, that
like, it
does
doesn't
make
even
sense.
make sense for you to worship an enemy's gods. Like,
Yeah.
even in the old pagan sense of things, where it's like you're going to worship the winning God.
I mean, they would throw away their own gods, right? Like if like things weren't going well, they would just switch gods.
I mean, they should.
Yeah.
If they're thinking about stuff like that. But also, what was very countercultural is the fact that Israel worshipped one God. And all of these people worshipped many gods.
Yeah.
So I was just listening to something about Jewish history, like way back in the day.
You were just doing this way back in the day?
No, I was doing this yesterday about the old history.
Oh, okay.
And nations of then would think of Jews relatively as atheists in a way because they only believed in one God.
Yeah.
Like when one God compared to hundreds of gods or whatever, they're like, oh, you don't believe in like any gods. Like they were seen of now as like Christians would view an atheist.
Yeah, well, there was a thought of like an overarching God that made the gods, but it was understood that it was that he or they were rather removed from earthly matters.
Sure, yeah. A little too big.
Yeah.
Also, this is in the end of chapter 23. Somebody, I think it was...
Oh, they wanted...
Tight Gripper said that they wanted...
Well, if someone said something, it was Tight Gripper.
Yeah,
he's kind of our only comment.
Yeah, verbose, but I like it.
Yeah, we really appreciate
it. This is at the end of 23 and verses 24. That's where we're starting. And okay, so let me see.
But this is what I am confused by, because what we've talked about in the past is that when massive violence is done and it's good, God is doing it. And when massive violence is done and it's bad or it's overdone, humans are doing it. So like Levi, when they murder the entire city for the defiling of Dinah, it's kind of understood that this was a little overkill.
Yeah, they overdid it.
But when God destroys Sodom and Gomorrah, he Goldilocks kills them. Yeah,
just right. Yeah, because if we understand that God is like the overseer of life, and it's his life is his, it's his to give or take.
Right.
He's like, this is my deal.
Yeah.
You don't get to take life, and that's also why a lot of people look at suicide and say that is a sin. Catholics think it's an unredeemable sin. Protestants do not. And it's like, because it's like you don't have the right to take your own life. That's generally what people think of about that.
Sure.
And again, Catholics are really hard-nosed on that, which is, I think, insane. But anyways.
That's so tough. Someone kills himself and you're like, oh no, he's going to hell.
Dude, that is what a lot of Catholics think.
Fucked.
I know, it's crazy. And it's like, yeah, like we have Christian friends who've like killed themselves and stuff like that. And no one's like, in the Christianity I grew up with, nobody's like, well, they're damned forever. Everyone's like, yeah, damn, we thought that guy was a good Christian guy, and apparently he was not. It's like,
well, it does. I mean, it does show a lack of faith in a certain sense.
Sure, in that moment, I think there's fear, and I think there's struggling.
Yeah.
And I think like fear has driven me to sin often.
Yeah,
it wasn't that sin.
Almost every time.
Almost
like it's been fear.
Every time. I mean, whenever I go to like porn and masturbation, which thankfully has been like a long time, but that is my go-to.
Honestly. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
This is a really hard time and culture to not look at porn all the time and whack off to it.
Dude, yeah.
So congrats
porn,
on that.
I think I'm 6 months. I forgot. I think I'm almost 6 months because it started November.
Yeah.
December, January, February, March.
You and Avicii. Oh, wait, not Avicii.
Yeah, 6 months.
There's another famous, like, I think Diplo doesn't watch porn anymore. You're in good company.
We're accountability partners.
He was dipping low because he was...
Dip low, and now we're trying to rise high.
Yeah.
That's us. That's us trying to rise high, but not off of porn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think like that. Yeah, that's a crazy thing for them to think, to be like, in a thing of fear and strife, and you think it's never going to end. Also, I mean, this is talked about in the New Testament.
Seems very unchristian.
The whole thing is
no, but you are forgiven for your sins.
Oh yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, but even Paul talks about like his own struggle in a weird sense with suicide, with suicidal thoughts when he talks about like, I struggle to stay here on the earth. He's like, I want to just go and be with the Lord. Like if you believe so strongly in being with God in heaven and being with Jesus, and you see you're suffering in this life, you're like, I'm gonna leave.
Catholics look at suicide like I look at disabled people with fast passes at Disney World.
Yeah,
they're like, you don't get to.
That's not right.
You should have to wait long. You're sitting down.
Yeah, that's how you're sitting down. Someone else is pushing you, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
And that person pushing you is like, I get to go on the ride faster. Yeah, I think that's the assisted suicide.
Right.
Which, did you see that new pod that was made in like Sweden or something, or Switzerland? They
mean they
made like
podcast?
a pod that people can get in and just kill themselves in.
What?
It just fills it with nitrogen.
Just a big microwave?
Yeah, well, yeah. You push a button, it fills you with nitrogen, and then you suffocate and die like almost instantly.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an assisted suicide thing.
Why? This is why I'm against free healthcare, is because it ends in everybody just being like, oh, I can just die awesomely.
It's also weird. Why would you pay for that?
Yeah.
Just do it. What a
Because they don't have guns.
They don't have guns. What do you don't have heights? You don't have elevation out
They
there?
don't have heights.
Freaking jump off a
No,
thing.
you're probably not allowed to build a building higher so that
scared of heights. I don't want to. Hey,
you can see when they have the sun one time a year.
it's so crazy that in the first world you don't even have to struggle to kill yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, how about you go through a little bit of fear of something
That is
to kill
wild.
yourself?
Anyway, so
nothing I disagree with more. So here are the boundaries that we are to live by these days, okay, of Israel. All right, let me just read this out to you. Oh wait, hold on. Was there something I wanted to cover before that? Oh, so when they're going into that land, I'll cover this first. God says, "And I will send hornets before you, which shall drive them out." All the people I mentioned before.
by the way, that would work so well.
Dude,
You send hornets into any place that I'm in, I'm leaving.
one hornet in this apartment, I'm burning it down.
getting the
it's
fuck
over.
outta here.
It's over. I'm
Yeah.
not living in an apartment with a hornet in
You
it.
come back to check if the hornet's gone in, and there's just 2 million Hebrews in your apartment.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, this is they earned it.
They earned it.
They earned it
if
with the
they're
hornet.
willing to put up with the hornet.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one hornet in here, I'd run outside and I'd be jumping up from below to check in to see if it's.
It's a good tactic.
Terrifying. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the wild beasts multiply against you. Little by little I will drive them out from before you until you have increased and possessed the land. So this is a slow ushering out. This isn't like some massive genocide per se, where they're like coming in and killing everyone instantly. This is like hey, we're going to push you guys out of this land and we're going to come and possess it. And it's weird because it talks about possession of the land and it's still managed. They're coming into things that definitely have been lived in and cultivated.
Sure.
It's one of those weird things where
They're
it's
settling it.
Yeah.
in a
Hey,
way.
these other people have totally made this land livable and awesome. That's yours now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, this whole thing is Jewish people claiming squatters' rights.
But they aren't even there. Squatters' rights are when you've been there for a bit.
Oh.
Squatters' rights are I was here.
Never mind.
But yeah, the other people are claiming squatters' rights, and then they're the quote unquote landlords
Uh-huh.
coming in and pushing them out
Okay.
of their apartment.
Right. Oof.
Anyways,
anyway.
So this is the.
It's never good when we both say anyways at the same time.
Yeah, okay. So this is 23 verse 31. And I will set your border from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the Euphrates, for I will give the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them and their gods. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me, for if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you. So again, border from the Red Sea to the Sea of Philistines, and from the wilderness to the Euphrates.
What is the wilderness?
Vague term. Maybe that's what we're all fighting over.
Yeah.
But that's where they set the border, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Folks.
Yeah.
Done and dusted.
Was this just the coolest area of the time? What about this?
Of the current time too. Everyone
I mean,
wants
it's still a hot.
Yeah,
I guess
hotbed.
That's kind of back to the Peter Zion thing. Is the geography is good. You have access to waterways and beachfront property.
Yeah, I mean it's a good land, but also it is like a desert, So it's kind of weird. It's not like I don't think it's so incredibly.
But everywhere is desert around.
Yeah, but you know what area is way more resource rich than Israel?
Egypt.
America, freaking the USA,
Sure.
like freaking Saudi Arabia's got oil up the wazoo.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that is the most rich area to be in natural resource wise, today.
I guess why I'm asking is in this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I got to look up on my own. Is in this time where the other, I mean, obviously there's the Canaanites, there's all these other people who live there. But there's a lot of space in between. This is not where Eden was, It's there's a lot of space in between
the Tigris and Euphrates.
Egypt and what is now, this area of Israel and Palestine is where was this a common space where everybody was like, you got to go, this is the best place?
Well, so if you are going to be traveling the world, this is like the intersection of the world.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much of it. I mean, going into Asia, going into Africa, going into Europe.
Sure.
That's it. That's the middle.
So
right?
it's just like the traffic center.
It is the traffic center. And also, this was in the video I was watching right before, the purpose of Israel initially as a nation, from God's perspective, was for them to be a priesthood proclaiming God to the nations. Like they are God's people that are going to represent the one true God in the world, right? So they were going to show forth who God was to the world through their nation, right? So you would want that nation to be in a highly trafficked area so that you could very well witness to the world who the one true God really is. So I think it's a strategic
But Jews don't evangelize.
Sure, it's a problem. I would say that's an issue. And that kind of was their issue, frankly, and maintains being that way.
Is that they don't evangelize?
Well, now it's. I mean, I don't want this to come off as anti-Semitic, but like they are very like, we're the chosen people. It's us.
Yeah,
and it's like I think God did choose you to proclaim, to be like a city on a hill as a nation prior to Jesus, to proclaim who God is to the world, and they didn't do a super hot job doing that.
But I guess it's, I mean, I just haven't run into it so far, but there's no dictum or like pushes by God, at least through Moses, to spread this.
Well, okay,
outside.
so
it's make more of your people, but it's never to bring in others. You can be nice to them, but
sure. I mean, I think in a sense that there has been, right, when you look at like Hagar, the Egyptian slave woman, like you do have individuals who were roped into the Israeli story and treated as Israelites as people of God.
I think Israeli is the proper term.
Israeli?
Israelite. Israeli is from the country.
I guess so. Yeah, Israelites. I think there are people accepted into being Israelites who were not initially born into it.
Yeah.
So you do see God accepting people of all nations on an individual scale. And also when they talk about when they overtake cities and stuff, they will take captive, right, these people who then become Israelites. They
get jumped in gang style.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they get beat up and they're like, all right, you valid.
Yeah,
valid.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's just what happened. Oh, your whole family died except for you?
Cut the tip of your penis off.
Come on, man, do it. Hey, cholos. That's, not just black gang voice. We do Mexican gang voice.
We do all sorts of accents.
Do white voice crime, which is what we're doing right now.
Right now.
White collar crime. I think I mean, he is accepting people of all nations.
Right.
There's no, I mean, he does say that Jerusalem is going to be the city on the hill, a light to the nations, right? And it's like, okay, that's your goal, is to follow God and through your prosperity show the power of your God to these other kings. But they just never followed God. They just did for moments, and then they would die off. And like King Solomon, who did follow God for the most part up until the end, massively wealthy, known as one of the wealthiest people of all time. Like, he's legendary for that in his wisdom and wealth. They were following God. King David, and I mean, they all had their bouts of not following the Lord, but like incredible wealth. And I think that's a sign of God's faithfulness to them. And then they just stop following God and they stop being good witnesses.
But so it's more of a lead by example technique than try and spread the word on, than going by your own, like by advertising, I guess.
Right, which I think is frankly a good way to evangelize. And I think people are called to evangelize in different ways in the modern day. I think the lead by example, lead by joy, lead with love way is a lot better.
I feel like a lot of modern day evangelism, I agree, because a lot of modern day evangelism feels like kind of a bribery almost. Like, we go and we do these nice things for you, so maybe
then at the end you'll listen to our talk.
Yeah,
totally. Or it's like the Billboard 1-800 for truth or whatever.
Sure, it's like a timeshare.
Yeah.
Eternal timeshare.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like, God is real. Call for evidence. It's like, all right. I guess that's definitely worked before.
Text while driving.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
You'll meet him pretty soon.
Don't wait. Yeah, so that's anyway. So yeah, I think maybe that's why they wanted that location, because it was
it's the center of the world.
It was the center of the world.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time.
Okay, that's interesting. So then we're on to the covenant confirmed. This is a repeat theme. We get this a lot. The covenant confirmed. Some type of sacrifice, some type of confirmation words from God, and then also a like some type of written pact or spoken pact ceremony type thing.
Yep.
Also not uncommon from other groups at the time, like the Hittites had their own version of where there's a blood sacrifice. It's called, it's something about suzerain, you divine, like a divine suzerain established, like
I think it's a cesarean.
Is it cesarean?
Cesarean section.
Yeah.
It's a cesarean.
It's okay. Fucking
That's when you get...
but basically, like the king who's appointed by God appoints a new like vassal. And then there's a ceremony, there's blood sacrifice, and then there's like some type of contract written out, which is kind of what happens here.
Yeah,
Moses
does it again, and the contract written out is on the mountain.
Yeah, and so Moses tells God, or God tells Moses. Moses didn't tell God. God tells Moses. Moses tells the people. The people say, "We will do what the Lord says." And then they sacrifice an animal and put blood on the altar, and then blood on the people. So they get a little like Blue Man Group style experience. And then Moses and 70 elders and his brother kind of go halfway up the mountain, and they get to eat. They have a little buffet with God. They get to eat with God. The 70 get to see God from a distance, and then Moses continues up the mountain to get the tablets that have the commandments and the laws on them, and then he stays there for 40 days and 40 nights, which kind of sounds like the amount of time it might take to etch all these rules into tablets, but
It'd take less than 40.
I mean,
to etch.
Yeah, he maybe he's also taking a little vacation. He's been leading these people for a while.
He's chilling. He's with God. If you're with God,
you want to hang out for a bit.
Probably want to hang. You're not like, I gotta go.
But it is an amount
also,
of time.
a lot of laws.
A lot of laws.
I mean, did you see what was just said? I mean, etching all that out.
Right, but they're supposed to be ready, and then he's there for 40 days and 40 nights. It sounds like he's just typing them out.
I mean, ting, 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 ting. I mean,
Takes a long time.
It could take a long time for sure. And then I imagine, then he breaks them. I will say, if he's the one who etched
the wastebasket full of laws he didn't like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, where he's like throwing.
Yeah, crumples up the rocks and just chucks them. I will say, I mean, this is to come, right? But when he comes down and then he sees the people worshiping and he breaks the tablets because he's so pissed.
Spoiler alert.
I forget that this is just, I forget that you don't know this.
That I don't know any of this.
Yeah, because that's like such a, anyways, I think if he was etching them out himself, I think he would have never broken them ever.
Well, no, he breaks them. He's got to go get new ones, new little vacation, restart the clock.
Dude, yeah, but etching them out, I mean, taking 40 days to do something, you're not just going to trash that immediately.
I don't know. Maybe it's like woodworking. It's like a relaxing thing.
Yeah, stonemasonry, kind of like ting, 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 ting. Yeah, maybe. Sort of get into it, the flow state. It's like in Surf's Up when he learns to make a surfboard.
Yeah, commonly compared to Exodus.
Did you ever watch that movie?
Surf's Up is the chicken one?
Well, the chicken is in it. No, but it's a penguin movie.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Really good. Like mockumentary style.
I've seen it. It's good.
My
friend has a Chicken Joe tattoo. It's a good entryway into women.
Huge mistake.
No, I don't think he cares. But any other things to say about the covenant confirmed?
No, I mean, really, they did a good job with the header here. Covenant confirmed. Moses goes up, and I just want to throw his name in there because it's my name. That Moses went up with his assistant Joshua, and Moses went up into the mountain of God. And he said to the elders, "Wait here for us, him and Joshua, until we return to you." So imagine, so you've got the people. You've got the 70.
You've got
Moses and Joshua, and then you've got Moses that goes up to the top ultimately.
Yeah.
So you've got like these four sections of people. Moses is with God. Joshua's just kind of sitting there kind of in the middle. Maybe he went back to the elders. Imagine just being there for like 40 days, being like...
waiting for Moses.
I'm an impatient person.
Yeah.
I'm very impatient. I couldn't have done it. I could not have done it.
Yeah, it would have been tough. It also, I mean, he would still be a part of the priesthood, right?
What's something that you could like, I'll wait 40 days for that? Maybe like a concert, like because it's 40 days away or something.
But it's only the only reason I'm waiting is because I've forgotten about it, and then I'm reminded a little bit later.
Yeah, like if it's something that someone's like, I'll get back to you about it in 40 days, I'd be like, well, that's
What
not
the fuck
That's
do you mean?
not acceptable.
Yeah. The one thing that is a little confusing is not. I don't know if it's in this chapter, or if it's a little bit before, but it's like, hey, yeah, I think it's before when he first goes up Mount Sinai. Is like God's like, they can't see me, they'll die, and then he's like, they can see me from afar. The 70 clergymen.
He comes over here. Rose early in the morning. The sun sang people. Where does it say he saw God? I told people. Murmurings.
Then Moses and Aaron, blah, 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 and the 70 elders of Israel went up and they saw the God of Israel.
There was under his feet as if it were a pavement of sapphire stone, like the very heaven for clearness. Wow, he did not lay his hand on the chief men of the people of Israel. They beheld God and ate and drank. Wow, that's sweet.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like
Sure.
there's before this, there's a pretty clear thing of like, no one else can see me, they'll die.
Yeah, but it's also, they say there was under, oh, sorry, I misread that. There was under his feet a pavement of sapphire stone, like the very heaven of Israel. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to talk about like the oscillating nature seemingly of his glory and its lethalness. It's like, you can see me, like you can't be in my presence. Maybe that's different from seeing him. You know what I mean? It's like if they saw him,
they saw the God of Israel.
Right, so they could see him, but maybe not be in his presence, like be close to him or something of that nature.
Okay.
I don't know how they, like I said, the oscillating nature of like, this will kill you. Don't touch the freaking mountain, you'll die. But also, these are the priests, right? So these are men who've gone through, presumably, the rites and rituals of sacrifice and cleanliness so that they can approach the Lord because they've been cleaned, right, of their impurities. Uncleanness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know this, but the whole nation cleans up before the ritual on Mount Sinai.
Yeah, and I imagine these are the people of Levi. These are the Levites who are like his called people to be priests.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's also part of it as well.
This is also where it feels a little bit like very similar to like the divine rights of kings. Like you have the king, and then you have the clergy, and then you have the lay people, right? And while I understand hierarchical necessity for a culture, everyone has one. It sections off people in terms of their way to communicate with God or have a connection with God, which feels like a very good mechanism of control for the people in those top two tiers of the hierarchy.
Sure. I mean, yeah, whenever there is, yeah, I guess so. Well, also that's kind of, yeah, I mean, I think that's always going to be the case when there's someone who claims special knowledge, right?
Right.
That being said, I do think that a lot of the special knowledge did not make Moses look good as a leader, you know? Like Moses is like, all right, we're going to be wandering in the desert now for 40 years. I don't think his leaders are going to be like, man, that's awesome. This guy's, he's claiming this to benefit himself. Like, I don't think these things benefit themselves the way that generally does. Like when people misuse it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then in a couple chapters, he's like, all right, everybody, give me all your gold and silver.
Right, but he doesn't like own it. They build a tabernacle out of it.
Yeah. Which other people are not allowed to come into
due to a lack of holiness. Sure.
Yeah.
But that, again, that's not seen as like, this is my temple. It is for the people and for their cleanliness as a nation. It's not about like, well, now it's mine and it's not yours and you don't get to benefit from it. It is like, no, it is for the forgiveness of your sins ultimately is to go through that. So it does have societal value. It's not just some private thing, you know?
Yeah. He does get they get power from it, I guess is the point. Like they get these people decide the the fate of the nation. And
well, I think they would say God decides it, right? This is a theocracy. This
Sure.
is they like Moses is not king. He is not a king. And Aaron is a priest. He is not a king either. So it is like on behalf of the nation that they do these things, and they're being led by God. So it's a pretty distinct way of leading a country because they're not claiming kingship.
Yeah. Okay. But kings are kind of doing the same thing. Like they're chosen by God.
Well, the difference between for a long time, and this is like they live without a king, even in the nation of Israel. They have no king, and then they're kind of upset because all the other nations do have kings. And they're like, we want a king, and so then God's like, it's gonna go bad if you have a king, and they're like, we still want one.
Why would you want a king?
Because every nation around them had a king. They're like, well, who's our leader? Who can we point to? Because they just had like a rotating thing of judges of prophets that were coming through speaking what the Lord wanted for them to do as a nation. And they're like, well, we'd like a king. That'd be easier for us. And so then God's like, all right, fine. So then he gives them Saul, which goes poorly, and then David, which goes well, and then Solomon, which goes well. And then after Solomon, it all kind of, like they have 3 kings that are like pretty manageable, and then it just goes to shite. I mean, it goes terrible.
Okay.
If they have kings. Because kings, they're not God.
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Absolutely, Grant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we have hit the hour point, and we've made it through 2.5 chapters.
Yeah, if that's. I mean, we did I guess we did, or 1.5.
Damn it.
But I will say this next section, we need to talk off mic as to how we even cover this, because
it's gonna stink.
It's so freaking dense, and it's literally like a massive IKEA manual.
Yeah, it basically is instructions for how to build
for the tabernacle.
For the tabernacle.
So it's kind of hard. Like this one header for 28 is the priest's garments.
And which are sick, by the way.
Yeah,
he's
cool.
dripped out.
Yeah,
the ephod or whatever, the chest piece with all the,
that's sweet with all the stones. I didn't know
Jewish people were crystal people.
Yeah. Of course, they started it.
Wow.
There's a nice little picture of what the whole thing looked like. But yeah, it's pretty freaking dense. And so it's going to be, I need to watch a lot of videos talking about the symbolic nature of a lot of these things first, because for me to pull it out myself, I just couldn't. I don't have the knowledge.
Anyway, this has been another episode of Call Him Father. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Yeah, okay, goodbye.